Hi everyone, we're looking at bisectors, medians, and altitudes in triangles and the special segments they make and their properties. So number one, as I look at it, says find x if EG, here's EG, is a median of triangle DEF. Now a median, as you recall from the definitions you've done, connects a vertex, which is E, to the midpoint of the opposite segment, FD. So, that means, if that's a midpoint, that 5x minus 17, F to G, is the same distance as D to G, which is 3x plus 1. And we are just to find x here. And so I just solved this equation. I'm going to subtract 2x from both sides. I have 3x minus 17. Why don't I subtract 3x from both sides? Sorry. 3x from both sides to get rid of the x completely. So I have 2x minus 17 equals 1. I add 17, and I have 2x equals 18. I divide by 2, and I'm going to write it over here. X is equal to 9. I'll leave number 2 for you to try. You can pause, give that a shot. It's the same basic problem. They ask another part to it. And what I'm going to look at now is number 3. It says find x and EF if BD is an angle bisector. So this angle CBA is being bisected by BD. Now we have an angle bisector theorem that says that any point on the angle bisector is equidistant from the sides. Well, the distance is that perpendicular that goes from point F and from point E. So these distances are the same. And 2x plus 6 will equal 4x minus 1. And if I minus 2x from both sides, to solve for x, I have 6 equals 2x minus 1. I'll add 1 to both sides. I've got 7 equal to 2x, and I divide by 2. And x is equal to 3.5. Now, we are to also find what EF is. Well, EF is 4 times x, which we know now to be, let me write EF over here, 3.5 minus 1. Well, 4 times 3 is 12. Half of 4 is 2. 12 and 2 is 14. 14 minus 7 is 7. So the distance from E to F is 7 units. Okay. Let's try number 4. We got a new term here. We had the angle bisector. Now we have an altitude. It says find x and ij, all the way from I to j, if hk is an altitude. Well, the definition of an altitude goes from the vertex to the perpendicular of the other side. Well, if that's the perpendicular, then that is a 90-degree angle. And that is a 90-degree angle, which means 3x plus 3 is equal to 90. And I subtract 3 from both sides, and I have 3x equals 87. When I divide both sides by 3, 87 divided by 3 is 29. Now, in addition to finding x, they said also find ij. ij goes from here to here. Well, I to k is x plus 8. So I to k is x plus 8, which is, let me write it, looking for a good place to write this, 37 units. 29 plus 8, because x is 29. And k to j is 29 minus 9, which is 20. So ij is equal to 37 plus 20, which is 57. Okay. Next, let me fit all this on here if I can. in exercises 5 through 7, triangle LMN, P, Q, and R are the midpoints. P, Q, R are the midpoints. All right, so that is median to midpoint, and where the medians all meet is called the incenter. And check that. Where the medians all meet is called the centroid. So point B is the centroid. I wasn't as prepared as I should have been. Okay, well, there's a centroid theorem. And what it says, that the distance from the midpoint to the vertex is the whole distance. Midpoint to the centroid is 1/3 of the distance. Centroid to vertex is 2/3 of the distance. So in other words, this distance is half the distance of this. Q to B is half the distance of B to L. 1/3, 2/3. 1/3 is half of 2/3. Or LB is twice as long as QB. So, and MB is twice as long as BR. So I'm going to use that fact here. And if I need to find X, the distance from M to B is X. Distance from M to B is X. The distance from B to R is 2. And M to B is 2 times the distance of B to R. So X is equal to 4. Now for Y plus 1, that is the short side. If I double it, I get the long side of 3.6. Well, let's do a little bit of algebra here. 2y plus 2, distributive property, equals 3.6. I subtract 2 from both sides. I got 2y equals 1.6. And then when I divide by 2, I got y equal to 0.8. Okay, there's X is 4, Y is 0.8, and then the last thing is to find Z. From side, midpoint to centroid is half the distance of centroid to vertex. So for Z, I'll double the 2Z, and that will equal BN 2.8. 2 times 2Z is 4Z equals 2.8. I divide by 4, and I have Z equals 0.7. So I have all 3 parts there. And one more. I have a problem that involves perpendicular bisectors. It says lines A, here's line A, and it doesn't go through P. B, line B is right here, and C are perpendicular bisectors, and they meet at point A. This point right here that's the name of it. It's the point right there. Now we're to find X, Y, and Z. Now the perpendicular bisectors, that's called the circumcenter. And the circumcenter theorem says that the circumcenter of a triangle is equidistant from the vertices of the triangle. Point A is the circumcenter. Its equidistant, which means from A to R, one vertex is equal from A to Q, which is equal to from A to P. Alright, so I'm going to use that. I saw A to R was 8x plus 16. A to R is equal to A to Q, and A to Q is 24. So I'm going to solve that. 8x plus 16 equals 24. I'm going to subtract 16. I have 8x equals 8. I divide by 8, and I have x equals 1. Now I'm going for y. And where did I see y? I saw y from A to P, the circumcenter to P. That's also equal to 8x plus 16, and it's equal to 24. 5y minus 6 equals 24 is going to help me find y. So I'm going to add 6 to both sides, and I have 5y equals 30. And I divide both sides by 5, and that means y is equal to 6. Okay, I have x and I have y. Now they asked me to find z. And when I look at the triangle over here, it says it's a perpendicular bisector, which means these two sides are equal. So 7z plus 4 is equal to 18. Well, if 7z plus 4 is equal to 18, what is z? Let's find out. 7z equals 14. Divide by 7, z is equal to 2. And I'll write that over here. Z equals 2. So we used the circumcenter theorem for two of them, and then we used the fact that it was a bisector for that one. Alright, I'm going to follow up with one more video that kind of deals with the kind of problem you have to do right here. And I'll have you look at that one in a separate video. Bye now.